and welcome to my channel. I'm Stephanie, and this is the weekly wrap-up for week 2 of October, which is October the 7th through the 13th. As I said, this is the weekly wrap-up. You guys, I had wanted to get a couple extra books in before I finished this weekend, but I have been at a swim meet all day today and have to be at a swim meet all day tomorrow. So yeah, you guys will actually be seeing this hopefully while I'm at the swim meet. But yeah, my kid's doing good. He's doing great. He's a little fishy. He's crazy, you know, fast, and keeps cutting down his times and stuff like that. Super proud of him. Yay. But this week has drove me a little crazy when it comes to reading. So I'm gonna grab my wine here, yes, and at some point I'm sure I'm gonna get into the tea, because there's a couple books on this list that we just deserve a drink. To start off the week, I read The Coppersmith Farmhouse by Devney Perry. This was a buddy read with Bree from Bree Hill, and I placed this in contemporary. I give it 4.525 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and man, do I wish I had got this entire series when I met Devney at Indies Invade Philly, because this first book was absolutely amazing. So you have a woman, Georgia, who moves to this new town, to this small town, and with her daughter, and oh my goodness, she moves to a small town because her adoptive grandfather, who she was working with as a nurse, he died and gave her his farmhouse. Well, come to find out, the caretaker of the farmhouse, who had been taking care of it for the grandfather-like character, he wanted the farmhouse and felt he kind of deserved it. Well, come to find out, he's also the sheriff of the town. And this is definitely a hate to love, because Jess, our sheriff, he definitely had some ill will against Georgia. And through their journey, you just find that it's really, really a sweet story. And then there's some twists and turns in there that I totally did not see coming. I was like, what? I boxered with Bree on this one and was like, what? Did you see that come? Wow. Oh my goodness. And you were introduced to some really just beautiful characters that I want to know their story. So I can't wait to get to the rest of the series. The next book I read was Under Her Brass Corset by Brenda Williamson. I read this because of Romance Roundabout. I place it in steampunk, and I give it 4 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and this book follows Abby. Abby's father gets killed, and it's set in the Victorian age, I think, or something like that. 1800s, 1700s, something like that. But it's very, very fun, and I was super surprised by this book. I loved the intrigue of it, and then it has pirates, and it has the steampunk aspects, as I said, with flying machines and pirate ships and pirate treasure. There was a small little lull sort of in the middle of the book where it gets a little pirate lore heavy, but if you're into that, then I think you would just love this. For me, it was a little too much for me. I get enough of that whole pirates history stuff from my husband, so I'm like, okay, get through, and then the ending was so great. Loved it. Love will conquer all. Yes. Then I read Gravel Road by Stephie. Now, you probably know, if you've watched any of the last couple videos, I have been read this book for a couple weeks now. I placed it in contemporary. I give it 5 humongous stars. I read it as an arc, although it was released about a week and a half ago. And this book follows Miranda and Austin. Miranda and Austin pretty much fell in love with each other when they were 10 years old. They're from a small town. Well, something happens, and you don't know what happens, and Miranda leaves the small town. Austin stays, and yeah, this book is so angsty, but so good. Oh my god. I mean, I love Stephie Wall's freaking writing. It just, even though I was like 60% into it and was like, what the hell is going on? Still, at 60% was like, what the hell is going on? And usually I'm like, if I don't know what's going on by 60%, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not even going to waste my, but it's Stephie Walls. And Stephie Walls never fails me. And then I'm like, that happened? What? There were so many moments I wanted to like smack Miranda in the head and be like, get out your head, dude. And there's some characters in there that I was like, I just don't like them. I don't like them at all. And at one point when I posted something about a character, Stephie was like, oh, just wait. And it sort of cued me in on a little aspect, and I was like, oh, I can see that now. Okay, maybe that person's not as bad as I thought they were. And yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a little check-in here or there for that one. But, and those kids in this book, oh, they were so cute. So cute and lovable and just, oh, so much fun. The next book I read was Asher's Invention, Asher Quigley, #1, by Coleen Kwan, and I placed this in steampunk as well. Read it for Romance Roundabout, and I give it 3.524 stars. I listened to it on audiobook. It's a short story, so it was a really, really quick listen, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. It has a bit of a, you know, invention thing going on there. I was like, okay, our main character, Minerva, her father gets kidnapped, and there's like a murder mystery thing that goes along with it. And I was like, okay, I get this. I'm digging this. Asher is the guy that she doesn't want to love but loves, and he feels like she's wronged him because of what her father did, and this whole mystery is revolved around the two of them, and I really, really enjoyed it. Then I read Asher's Dilemma, which is Asher Quigley #2, by Coleen Kwan, and this is steampunk as well, and I actually gave this one a higher score, which is a flat 4, and I listened to it for 4 stars, and I listened to it on audiobook, and I gave it 4 stars because this one, even though you don't need to read this story to understand, or you don't need to read the first story to understand this story, it is better to read the first story so that you can understand this book right here, because yes, it's still Minerva and it's still Asher, but there's some extra stuff that goes along, and it was fun this time, and it didn't drag at all. This is also a short story, so it's a really quick listen, and I just really, really enjoyed it. The next book I read, I'm going to start drinking, y'all. The next book I read was The Hymn and the Shiver by Alex Bledsoe. I placed this in sci-fi/fantasy, and I DNF'd it at 25%. I listened to it on audiobook, and this book was just bad. I actually gave it 1 star because it was just that bad. Normally, when I DNF a book, I don't give it a rating, but this one was just bad. So bad. Oh my goodness. In this story, you have Brownie, who is a private in the army. She is from backwoods Tennessee, and she serves in the Iraq War. So she has a similar story, if you know anything about military history, similar to Jessica Lynch, where she's a private in the military, gets injured, is a POW, gets severely injured, then comes back home, and yeah. I was going to read this for Romance Roundabout because it has sci-fi and mystical sort of aspects to it, but at that 25%, I was like, I can't do it anymore. when you hint at dropping the N-bomb or the F-bomb, I just can't. And then the fact that the main character, Brownie, was half made out to be like this idiot soldier and half made out to be the small town slut. The slut shaming was just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I get sometimes that it's needed, but this was just like over the top, just out of control. Every other like freaking chapter they were talking about how she would go down on any guy that was in her small town before she had left, how much trouble she was, how much of a whore she was, and now that she's back, she's probably just going to do the same thing that she did when she was, you know, that's probably how she got rescued, was because she blew them. And I was like, I cringed so much through this book. And I was just like, okay. And the only reason I made it 25% was because I was like, they're in the backwoods of Tennessee. I'm going to give them a benefit of the doubt. Maybe they weren't exposed to too much culture, or and the people, the Tufa people that she was supposedly a part of, they're not Native American, but they're like supposedly mystical, I guess, or fae or something. They have something to do with their music, and I was just like, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I couldn't. Then I went and read some of the other 1-star ratings because I was like, oh, maybe I just, you know, didn't give it a chance, and, you know, maybe I missed something. Nope. No, I didn't. All those 1 stars pretty much said the same exact thing that I did. Why are we over-sexualizing someone? Oh, and don't let me forget about the preacher that is the main male character. Creepy as fuck. Oh my god, is 10 years older than this chick is, and is like sexualizing her. But he's a freaking preacher. What? What? Oh my god. So many issues with that. So many issues with that. I just, yeah. Wow. I couldn't. It just bad. Bad. Horrible. So, thankfully, the last book that I read for this week was Test Drive by Riley Hart. And this is an LGBT male story. I give this book 4.5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, and it brought my happy back. This book follows Drew and Justin. Justin moves from North Carolina to Virginia to help take care of his father, who's been diagnosed with cancer and is doing chemotherapy and things like that. Well, he's gay, and he goes to the club to sort of blow off some steam, and he meets Drew, and they end up having a liaison in the dance floor, and then come to find out they have a special connection. Well, as this trauma is going along with Justin's family, and, you know, Drew doesn't know exactly where he wants to be. He's not in the closet, but he's not necessarily out of the closet. He's not open, and he doesn't know that he is gay, or hasn't decided if he's gay or not, things like that. There's a lot of coming of age to this, and also a sort of self-discovery. It had so much emotion and so much family that went along with it. At moments, I found myself teary-eyed because it was just so sweet. And then, the sexy was like on point. Oh my goodness. Woo! Smoking hot. Woo, fam myself. Wow. Super sexy. Super sexy. Super sexy. I had never read anything by Riley Hart, and this makes me want to read more by her. Wow. Yeah. So good. So let's get into what I am currently reading, what you guys will probably be hearing about next week, along with, yeah, just what you'll be hearing about next week. So I am also reading Seasons of Wonder by RaeAnne Thayne, and this book is really interesting. It is part of the Haven Point series, and you have a veterinarian who has 2 girls that has moved from Boston, and they have sort of this mystery background that they have going on. You don't know exactly why they've moved to the small town of Haven Point, but it is to take over the veterinary clinic from her very next door neighbor, who is a deputy sheriff, and his last name's Morales. What is his first name? Let's see. Ruben Morales is a deputy sheriff, and they live next door to each other, so they're sort of getting to know each other. He's pretty much vowed off anyone that has kids because he had a bad experience with that, and she has had a bad experience with men in her life, which is why she had uprooted her kids and moved them out there. So we're still trying to learn about that. There was in the beginning a bit of, I guess, redundancy with saying how much she wanted to start a new life and things like that for me. But now that we're getting further into the story, I'm finding that I'm really interested in what the 2 of them have going on. The next book that I am also reading is The Gathering, which is the Ivy Blackwood Chronicles #1 by L.A. Fiore. I'm reading this as an arc, so I am taking my time getting through this. This is LA's sort of toe dip into a different genre than she usually writes about. Usually she does contemporary. This is a little bit of a mix of a couple different subgenres from romance. And I'm not going to tell you which ones because I definitely think you should go into this story blind. Give it a chance. It does start off have a lot of POVs, or a lot of perspectives, a lot of characters that have speaking moments, but they are very clear in who's speaking where, and I'm really intrigued by this story. Hopefully, as I said, I had to do swimming this weekend, so I wasn't really given a chance to get into the books that I'm telling you guys about that I'm currently reading, because I definitely wanted to get it done, but it will be coming up next week in next week's review, because yes, I'm really enjoying it as of right now. I am still working on Slappy Birthday to You by R.L. Stein, which is part of the Goosebumps project that I am doing. I am sort of jumping on with Ashley from Bookish Realm on her Goosebumps sort of project she's doing for October, because it's all spooky. Everybody's all about spooky, and, you know, let's do scary stuff, and I'm not down for the scary, so yeah, I'm trying to get through this. I really enjoyed the first movie that came out, the Goosebumps movie that came out, so I just haven't been able to get into it, even though it's middle grade and it should be like super easy for me to fly through. No. Probably because it's a physical book, but yeah. And then I have a couple other books on my Goodreads saying that I'm reading them, but I haven't even cracked them open. So those are the books that I read last week in October the 7th through the 13th, and what I'm currently reading as well. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have read any of those books, what you thought about them, if maybe my perspective was a little jaded on some of them, because I know I did DNF and 1-star one of them. But yeah, let me know down there in the comments. Let's discuss. Let me know if my current reads are interesting to you guys and you are looking forward to hearing more about those. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys later.